Hello everybody! In this video lesson, we're gonna look at a very important area of language and profession in combination. That is to combine English and work. This is simply called Business English or English for Business Purposes, EBP. It's normally doing business in English or applying English language in the business context and workplaces. But what's Business English? And why Business English? Well, before we begin to talk about Business English, let's talk a bit about the status and the importance of English language in general. And then we come to Business English. Nowadays, more and more people are dedicating time to studying English as a second language. Most of you know that English is the world's most spoken language and English is now the world's most studied language. More than 20% of the world speaks it. In other words, out of nearly 8 billion people in the globe, nearly 1.5 billion people speak English. That's really a huge number. As a matter of fact, and surprisingly, the majority of the people who speak English are not native English speakers. What is a native speaker? Well, a native speaker is the one who is born into English language. The first language or mother tongue is English. In this case, we can say American people, British, Australian, New Zealand, Canadian. More than 400 million people worldwide speak English as their first language. The rest of the English-speaking people are non-natives. In other words, they are non-English people, but have studied and acquired English as a second or a foreign language. As a result, we can say that English has not become a popular or a global language because of native speakers, but because of non-native speakers. About 60 to 70% of the internet data is English. Thus, English is the language of internet. According to linguistic assumptions, half of the world's languages will be replaced by English next century. In simple words, if there are 6,000 living languages on Earth now, in the next 100 years, some 3,000 languages will fade away and replaced by English, especially the endangered languages. What are the endangered languages? Well, the endangered languages are those languages that are likely to go extinct in a near future because their speakers will die soon or their speakers would tend to use a different language. English is an ongoing language and will advance over other languages. This is naturally because English is an adaptable language. It borrows words and sticks them into its dictionaries smoothly. The new borrowed words will melt down into the language and it become a part of the language forever. Definitely, English is a language of science, medical, business, internet, technology, research, diplomacy, industrial, tourism, and many more. English is also called the language of the skies because it's related to the fact that English-speaking countries dominated the design and the manufacturing of the plane and aircraft, as well as much of their operations. Also, all pilots contact each other in English. One of the areas in which English is spoken the most is business. That's why English is also called the language of business, language of workplace, language of corporates, international companies, job, market, business in all its types and branches. Therefore, this global significance makes English critical to be learned or to be improved. Just to let you know, for those who are academic, the English business is a branch of ESP. What's ESP? Or what does ESP stand for? Well, ESP stands for English for Specific Purposes. It's a branch of English as a second or a foreign language. It usually refers to teaching the English language to university students or people already in employment in relation to the specific vocabulary and skills they need for professional life and workplaces. So we can also say EBP, English for Business Purposes, is a special English used in business contexts. Having a good English increases your chances of getting a good job in a multinational company. Whether you are a business owner, a student, or employee, English is incredibly important in the business world and the workplaces. Successful communication is the key to increase your progression in your work. Without a proper knowledge of the business English, it might be difficult for you to maintain business relationships and to get promotions. In the world of business, communication with strangers is something you will most likely face on a regular basis. So, fluency in the business English can allow you to be more confident during cross-cultural communication. I mean, you can use your English with any other language at any other workplaces. English is also a lingua franca. What is a lingua franca? Well, lingua franca means a common second language that is used by speakers who do not have a common first language. For example, if there is a business meeting including a Kurdish, an Arabic, a Spanish, a Japanese, a Swedish, or whoever, there must be one language to be spoken because none of them speak each other's. And this common language will be English. English can connect them together. While there is no official lingua franca on the planet, English is often used to communicate across nations. In fact, business English is different from general English. In general English, you learn daily conversations or you go with it at schools. However, business English is different in many ways. There's actually an obvious difference between English in the classrooms and English in the workplaces. Unfortunately, even in academic schools and universities, very few are taught on actual business English. That's why we see many graduates, even though they speak very good English and graduated from English departments, but when they get a new job in an international company or in a big business organization, they face difficulties with specific English used in the workplaces and that kind of business contexts. Business English deals with meetings, negotiations, sales and marketing, job interviews, filling out CVs, writing business reports, telephone communications, product and service terminologies, financial details, and many more of the workplace phrases and business idioms. People learn English mainly to get a good job easily or earn their jobs internationally. It could be a company, a factory, organization, a brand, online services, training, or any other money-making interactions. Finally, if you have 3 things in you, then you're fine and the success is already there. I always mention it. There is an equation. I name it the success equation or the achievement equation. The equation simply has 3 parts. So, if you have these 3 parts, you just add them up together, you will achieve the result. Time plus desire plus practice equals success or achievement. Time, desire, practice. You have to dedicate time and have a real desire for it, then practice and live with it. Don't say, yes, I need it, but I don't have time, or don't say, well, I know it's necessary and this is something important, but I don't have the desire for it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. If you don't have time or desire or practice, then you're not gonna have the equation. And finally, you won't achieve your goal. Good luck and see you in the next video lesson.